Our sponsor, the Peace Watcher, a black-owned safety app made and for by us. Listen, you ever been out and you think to yourself, it would be really good if somebody knew what my whereabouts was, just in case something happened that I cannot foresee, right? Unforeseen circumstances. The Peace Watchers allows you to create that safety, that peace of mind, to relieve that anxiety by being able to share your location with a friend from anywhere in the world. You can go ahead and download the app at thepeacewatchers.com. Black-owned safety app for us, by us. Let's stay on code. Mr. C.A. Low in the building. Let's get to the narrative, says Bagels and Loaded Lex. All right, man, you guys know how this goes. You know how I start my solo broadcast. I always start with a rant, and I really paid very close attention to this weekend's reactions to things, right? Specifically this weekend, because a lot of people, when they make predictions and they don't want to ever really admit that they're wrong, they try to find ways to nitpick, take things apart. I've seen a lot of people who picked K Shine to win over the weekend eating some crow, and they were not happy about it. But we really need to have a conversation, not about so much us as media, but the battle rappers in media, right? Because at this point in time, there is an explosion. Hold on, let me get this off the screen here so we don't get so much brightness. There is an explosion of battle rappers participating in media, right, over the last 3 years. Math Hoffa, Misfit, Goods, DNA, K Shine, Mike P, Shooting the Rapper, 40 Bars, John the Don, A-Verb, Pat Stay, right? The list could keep on going, right? And so all of these guys are peers in this battle rap media world. And now, apparently brand new, Sue Surf, who's now a commentator, right? Obviously, Rada, who's with was with Hennyman in battle rap trap. The list goes on. There's tons of battle rappers that are in the field of the world of battle rap media alongside of people like myself, right? What's the difference between us and them? They're more in tune with the business of being an artist, being a battle rapper. They're more in tune with the behind the curtains, things that you guys don't see, and even some things that I don't even get the chance to see. I know you guys think I'm some person with a lot of power or I have a lot of connections. As much network as I have, there's some things that I don't know about, and more importantly, maybe I don't even want to know about. But the battle rappers are the best representation of themselves. So when you see them in the spotlights of being a media member, in essence, they're supposed to be able to have this camaraderie amongst each other to look out for one another because they know what the process is like, preparing material, trying to memorize it through your regular job, you're taking care of your children, baby mama drama, maybe you're booked for 2-3 battles at a time and you have to balance all that while executing a good performance. Battle rappers know the struggle, so they can relate to each other the most. Yeah, but for some reason, battle rappers are probably treating themselves in the media worse than how we would probably treat them in the media, right? Because let's look at Sue Surf, for example, over the weekend. I know a lot of you guys said the Sue Surf exposes biasness by not necessarily calling out some of the battles. He apparently didn't watch the Arsenal battle. That's a surprise there. And then when K Shine battle happened, they didn't call the votes, nor did he even give a winner for the K Shine battle. And the night prior to, he said Chilla Jones wouldn't win a round. So you're expecting at some point for Sue Surf to say, hey, Surf, you were wrong, admit it, right? But if yesterday or Saturday night was the first time you say to yourself, Sue Surf is biased, wake up and smell the coffee. Sue Surf has been biased for a long time, all right? He has connections, he has friends, and I've been saying it for a long time. Battle rappers actually have the opportunity to be more biased than media members because they have more relationships to cultivate and to maintain than we do. We're going to tell it how it is. They have to keep these relationships for their own commerce, for their own support, for their own opportunity to make revenue. So they're not always going to say things how it should be said, or maybe sometimes they're not always going to call things out the way it's supposed to be called out. And that's fine. I'm not mad at that. I'm more upset at the other battle rappers that will very harshly critique performances. Like, you expect X blogger, Y blogger, I'm not naming any names, to be very critical of New Jersey Twerk. But when somebody like Goods, for example, is very critical of New Jersey Twerk, it hurts Twerk more because battle rappers have more of an influence, they have more of a following, and they all got into this media game to pretty much dictate and to control the direction of a narrative, which, by the way, trying to control the direction of a narrative is bias within itself, right? It's already a biased action. But it's kind of crazy to me that sometimes you'll see battle rappers that'll claim winners for battles that they didn't watch. They will give opinions on things that they weren't there for or didn't get a chance to fully see. So what's the point of trying to imprint your voice on something that you didn't even necessarily witness? That's not analysis. That's not necessarily a good take. And what's the difference between somebody like a Goods not watching a battle, recapping it, as opposed to somebody who is not a battle rapper not watching a battle, recapping it? There probably is no difference. It's probably just as bad, if not worse, because you are a battle rapper. You would not want to be treated this way, but you guys are treating yourselves the way that you don't want to be treated by the other media. And I think at some point in time, we need to start calling a spade a spade. They're almost more destructive to each other than we could ever be. They're supposed to create this welcoming environment, this understanding camaraderie. But in reality, this is creating something a little bit more toxic because it's like, wait, hold on. You know me. You know me directly. We go out to eat after these events. Like, why aren't you putting your best interest forward when you're covering me? And I think it needs to be said that battle rappers do have a lot of impact as media members. And in fact, they probably have way more power than we ever would. So, of course, there is a beauty that they can dissect the sport in ways that we can't because they perform. They're the actual performers. They've been in the ring. They see the things that we cannot see. But in that same token, they're also doing the things that we would not do. Conqueso says France is not playing this evening. Yeah, man, I think it just needs to kind of be called out. I've seen battle rappers, like people will say media controls the narrative, and I disagree with that. To be honest, the narrative kind of doesn't come from a single person. It becomes something that consumers say. Like the consumers make an opinion on a battle, right? That's why you have these caffeine votes, the app votes, social media, Twitter polls, right? Twitter, IG poll, whatever, right? You have a little survey landscape of a collective group of opinions. You can't confirm whether these people watched the battle or not, but that's the direction of the battle's thought process. And media's job is just to either agree or disagree with what the consumers are saying. My concern is, at what point do we call out the battle rappers for creating opinions and making points and takes for battles that they don't watch themselves? And I know a lot of people say, people in the caffeine chat can sway the fans' opinions because battle rappers in the chat can have messages that sways the fans. First and foremost, if you're a person that's going to get swayed by a chat room box, right? If a message is going to change your opinion, you weren't watching the battle for the content to begin with. You were watching the battle for the opinions of the battle. Man, stop my time, man. Let me get my water, man. We're going to talk tonight. If you're really watching the battle, you're listening to the bars, whatever the messages are popping up at the bottom has no effect to the content that you're watching. If you let it affect you, it's because you're chasing the opinions. And you know what? That's fine. There's real sports fans in the world that don't watch sport, does not watch the game. They watch highlights and they watch sports media. Go figure. Maybe the exact same thing exists in battle rap. Y'all watch highlights and y'all watch the opinions of figures in battle rap. Y'all don't necessarily watch the full 20, 30, 40-minute battle. So, I mean, those are people that already you shouldn't even be debating with. So if those are the people saying, oh, you're swaying those people, well, yeah, maybe those people aren't really the opinions that you want to be looking for. Maybe their opinion isn't gospel. Let's look into some of these messages. CJC says, your battle rap IQ is low if the chat persuades you. Or maybe you're just very impressionable. It doesn't necessarily mean your IQ is low. Maybe you're just in the sport for the dialogue of the sport more than the actual content. That's okay. That's perfectly acceptable. Just state your case. Augie says the existence of the app made it worse. I disagree with that, Augie, because the app are paying Patreons and they are submitting a vote. And if there's any vote that I think is going to matter, it's the people that are putting the money into the ecosystem. That's just my opinion. I know everybody doesn't agree with me, but I really like the app votes. Susef Lawyer, take it easy, Susef Lawyer. Take it easy, right? Take it easy. CA Low says, we are more intelligent than we give ourselves credit for. I agree. I agree. It really hasn't been that bad since Volume 4. Yeah, I also agree. All I'm saying is this. Battle rappers, like, don't point to us as media saying that we're feeding narratives when you guys have all the control too, if not more control than us. Math Hoffa probably has the biggest outlet out of all of his peers. And let's be honest, he's not a big Suser fan, right? To be kind, to put it in the most kind terms I could put it, he's not really a big Suser fan, right? That doesn't look good. It doesn't look good when Misfits on that platform saying things like she thinks Rum Nitty's overrated, and the list goes on and on and on, right? So these people are the I don't want to say the pinnacle, but they're the biggest figure of battle rap media from a battle rapper. And then they're coming at some of the biggest stars or most active names. I can say Rum Nitty's overrated, and Misfit can say Rum Nitty's overrated, and it won't hold the same weight. So I just really wanted to get my media rant out there because battle rappers have a responsibility with media, just as anybody else does. Matter of fact, if there's any basketball fans here, right? Shaq. If you guys have been following the NBA so far this season, you've seen that Shaq has been relentless honestly, for the past couple of years, but specifically this season. He's been really critical of the players in the league right now, to the point where some of these players, they're not happy about it. They're like, hold on, man. Like, we expect Skip Bayless and other commentators that don't play the sport to criticize us and hate on us, but you're the big homie. We don't expect this from you. You know what happens in the locker room. You know what goes on behind these streets, behind the closed doors here. Why are you coming at us the way that these guys are? Like, we don't expect that from you. The exact same thing in battle rap. Like, you expect XYZ battle rapper to criticize these people, but when you guys do it, it's 10 times worse. You know, DNA talks about this all the time. I agree, Tata, and I actually want to talk a little bit about K Shine and DNA in a little bit. Let's move over to K Shine because he has such a brilliant media strategy that I actually want to give him a lot of praise for. Over the weekend, if you notice, he didn't do any interviews with media, right? He didn't do a 15 Minutes of Fame interview after his battle. No Hip Hop is Real. He didn't do the URL TV Media, which is brand new and launched. Salute to URL Media for that. He didn't do anything. What did he do instead? He created a recap on his own channel with Chilla Jones. Creating content with your opponent is definitely a whole different ballgame, but he took that opportunity to say, you know what? I'm not going to let anybody get a quote off of me or get my raw emotions or feelings. I'm going to let everything process, and I'm going to give Chilla Jones his respect while at the same time humbly accepting, where I went wrong in this battle. And it's the most strategic thing ever because now we look at K Shine like, you know what, K Shine, maybe you're not admitting that you lost, but you're admitting that you got humbled, and I can appreciate that. I can respect that. It is kind of like controlling a narrative. It's kind of like doing damage control to a degree, but I mean, it's the smartest route of doing so. I will say this though, I'm not so confident that if K Shine won that battle, he would have took the exact same route. But that's fine. You know what? You know why that's fine? Because I'd rather my battle rapper have that self-awareness that they did not win by the consensus, so they're doing everything they can to make sure they're perceived the correct way by the masses, than to delusionally just say, oh, well, I think I won that battle. Or even going on camera admitting a defeat, right? If you really feel like you lost, the two things you fundamentally don't do, you never admit your defeat, and more importantly, you don't just say, "Oh, I think I still won the battle." There's strategic ways to go about it, and K Shine went about this the exact same way that anybody could have gone about this. Battlers shouldn't interview immediately. I'm not sure about that, Augie. I'm not sure about that because there's still a lot of raw emotions and raw energy that I would love to get captured just so I could see what the battle rapper feels like in that moment. I like the days before battle rap had media. Sir, battle rap has always had media. I'm not sure if this is maybe it's more magnified because of the internet and everybody has a smartphone and anybody can just turn on a camera, an HD camera, and on their iPhone or Android and just get their words out. But battle rap has always had media. In fact, You should be more happy that the media is available are people within the culture, because previous battle rap media were just people, were just hip hop outlets that just needed a story. These battlers are on Media Train. Grind Time had interviews. Are you sponsored by Dell? Ha. Hey man, it's very possible that can happen. Let's talk a little bit about Chilla Jones and K Shine. How Chilla Jones beat K Shine. Suse's lawyer says I can't hate on Sean for making the smart move. Yeah, I can't hate on it either. It's very smart. I just want to say, I see what you're doing, Shine. But it's smart though, right? It's literally the most strategic way to handle a loss. Again, he doesn't believe he lost, but he knows to the masses he might have lost. So this is the best way to handle it. I want to talk a little bit about K Shine's battle with Chilla Jones and how Chilla beat K Shine, how K Shine lost the battle. So I did put out an interesting statistic. As funny as it may sound, K Shine has not lost a coin toss since 2017 against Danny Myers. And I know that sounds mad funny that like, oh, he finally lost a coin toss, he lost the battle. Yeah, no. But sometimes we don't really realize how much a coin toss changes things, because when a battle rapper is preparing their material before the battle, one thing that they do not know and they can't anticipate unless they just go first while the coin's in the air, they don't know if they're going to go first or second. Like, you can't plan for that unless you go. I mean, you can't plan to go second. You can plan to go first, but you cannot plan to go second. So K Shine every single year after 2017 against Young Cannon, against Ines, against Av, against Jay Mills, against Tay Rock, against Reed Dollars, against From Nitty, the list goes on. He wins these coin toss and he makes his opponent go first. They set the bar and he has so much energy. He's such a good performer. He's so electric that he's able to match and succeed any single piece of energy that's placed in front of him. So the first time where he had to play catch up, it was a completely different outcome. And today on Breakfast with the Champ, K Shine says he knows exactly what he did wrong in the DNA battle. I want to play this audio clip so we can all listen in.
First round, but that's what took the lead. So now it forces me. Now I'm not a freestyler nigga. Now it forces me to freestyle, because now I got to show that I can freestyle too. And this is why he's winning the battle, because now I'm not the star anymore. Now I'm finding myself trying to keep up with you. He changed the momentum in the battle.
That's a fact.
Changed the momentum. That's why I got to be honest. Like, you know, when I left out, before the battle, we had a bet. Like, yo, the loser got a Brit buy drinks, right? I say, yo, I still might buy this nigga a drink, but now I got to wait till this footage drop. but we was like.
So there you have it. Even K Shine says it himself. The pacing of the battle was just not what he was used to. For 3 years, you have been the person that dictates the pace by exceeding your opponent's energy. So for the first time in 3 years, you have to be the one to set the bar. Let's read some of these messages. Chilla Jones might have low-key stole Champion of the Year recency bias. I agree, Augie. I want to say, Augie, I'm going to revisit that message. I'll come back to it. I got something to say about that. CJC says, Shine needs an update. Pat and Chilla battles were bad for him. Bagel said, the truth is, Shine has been getting away with a lot of simple bars loudly. Yeah, Bagels, but let's not have revisionist history neither, right? You don't go 3 years arguably winning all your battles, or arguably not even losing a round, which I don't buy into, but you don't go that far without some version of skill and substance and material. Like, you don't make it that far, that consistent for that long with the simple bars. K Shine was acting like a clown since the face off. Yeah, K Shine was definitely G4. K Shine was definitely out of character. This wasn't a K Shine we're used to seeing. And once I saw that face off, I knew to myself, this is not a Shine. We're going to see a Shine we have not seen, and it's not going to be pretty. I'm not saying he was wax as Bagels, but in the Patch Day battle, he spit a lot of mid. I feel you. Tata says that's why he lost. Nobody's honest with him. Jill says going first or not, Chilla had the material. It was different level. Jill, I agree. Chilla Jones lyrically is just advanced. He's just more advanced than K Shine. Right? He said himself, material wise, there's nothing K Shine could do with me, right? But when I see people trying to give K Shine an on cam win against Chilla, I'm like, are you sure that's possible? Like, this is one guy whose material goes down over time versus one guy's material who goes up over time. Like, on cam, you're probably never gonna have Chilla Jones losing. But I will say that in the building, you completely felt like he lost. Because let's be honest, I'm just gonna be real with you guys. K Shine's first round, because of the muffled audio, we will never know how good that first round really was. I personally thought his second round was pretty good, even though I still have Chilla winning that round. And Chilla said if there's any round I would give Shine, it would be the third. So it's not like K Shine was bad by any means. It's just he had no control of the match, was completely out of his comfort zone, completely out of his character, and was playing catch up the entire time. You got to think, if Chilla Jones goes first, that rebuttal doesn't exist. That rebuttal would have never happened. I've never seen somebody win a round within 5 bars. Shine was bad, let's be real. I disagree, BX Legend. I disagree, but that's your opinion. Susef Lawyer, what Shine has done the last few years isn't normal. He was due for an L. I agree. Susef Lawyer, I was saying that. I said it was about time Shine take a loss. You know what I'm saying? It was unsustainable. It was at any given moment. It was going to happen. Bagel says the only thing I remember from Shine's round is dump text. Gio says, off to a bad start with the muffled audio. But he wouldn't know his audio was muffled. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't know that. Only we would know that. Tata says, even if it didn't, Shine was still getting 30'd. Shine's mic and freestyle is why he lost. When do you see Shine rebuttaling? You rarely ever see him rebuttal. So the fact that he even tried that, I give him props for trying it, but it didn't land. And I think people have to realize, like, a bad rebuttal is better than no rebuttal. So that's why rebuttals are so risky. I think I said that backwards. No rebuttal is better than a bad rebuttal. I think I might have said that backwards. Again, if I said it backwards, just to clarify, no rebuttal is better than a bad rebuttal. Let's keep reading these messages. Shine tried a rebuttal versus Ill Will and got killed. Yeah, I remember that battle. So does that mean champion Chilla? Does that mean Chilla Jones is champion of the year? It's a tongue twister. All right, so going back to CJ's message earlier, I believe, or Augie's message about having some recency bias towards champion of the year. Look, I want to be completely honest with you guys. I'm a panelist voter. It's my 3rd time being a panelist voter. I'm very blessed to have the opportunity. I'm blessed to represent LTBR in that fashion. But I will tell you straight up, all right? K Shine battling Chilla Jones a week before the panel and the announcement of champion of the year would have absolutely 100% had a recency bias, okay? If K Shine walked out that day with a 30 and we all voted Chilla Jones winning champion of the year, for example, everybody would have been like, I don't understand it. We just seen K Shine beat this guy. How would you give him the award? It's literally kind of like in the playoffs when the MVP gets bounced out early and you're like, well, he wasn't no real MVP. And it's like, yeah, MVP is a regular season award. It's not a playoff award. Thank you, CJC. I appreciate that, man. All right, our chat admin's in the building. Salute to the chat admin. Chilla was already champion before that battle. Tata, I'm not saying he was or wasn't. All I'm saying is K Shine was definitely trying to have some implementations on recency bias, and it backfired. It definitely backfired. He definitely was. Yes, 100% of the way. Let's move on, though. I do have more topics to talk about. All right, guys, your favorite word, right? Your favorite word, the word narrative. France, Let's Talk Battle Rap, have a narrative to push, all right? And I need all of your help. I need everybody to get behind me on this one, all right? This one is so good that I feel like nobody can say no to this one, all right? So everybody knows B-Dot and Shotgun Suge did not go down this weekend. Shotgun Suge canceled 2 of his recent battles. He had a battle against Bankhead January 16th, which canceled. He had a battle against B-Dot this past weekend on Volume 7, which also canceled. But they were canceled due to health concerns, personal issues. So first and foremost, get well, Shotgun Suge. I feel like when battles get canceled, we always have that disappointment versus making sure the battle rapper is okay. So I hope Shotgun Suge is well. But I have the perfect suggestion for this battle to get rescheduled. Perfect suggestion. B-Dot versus Shotgun Suge in a banned one-off setting in New Jersey. Hear me out. B-Dot has 8 battles on URL. 7 out of his 8 battles have been in California. So what does that mean? His one road game was against JC. Probably his worst performance on the league. It's about time B-Dot hits the road again. And if honestly, we've seen the polls. The polls had this battle 85-15% in favor of B-Dot. If you make this a one-off ban in a gritty setting with a bunch of Jersey dudes in New Jersey, you level the playing field, and we finally put that test to B-Dot. Say, hey, let's get you back on the road on URL, and let's see what you can do. Let's see what you guys have to say about this. They say, I like this. He don't leave Cali. He's comfort. I like this. Let's get him out of Cali. Suge 30. Who has Suge 30? Jersey's allowing gatherings during COVID. Hey, 4-time. We'll figure all that out in a second. Let's just first present the idea, and then we'll get the logistics and operations settled, all right? With a crowd, though, he needs that much of an advantage. I don't think so. No. Hold on. It's not that Suge needs the advantage. Shotgun Suge deserves the respect, all right? Shotgun Suge has only had 3 home games in his entire career. I think he's valid to say, URL, give me a home game. Yeah, you know what? You're right. You battled 16 of our proven ground battle rappers. You've given 16 guys opportunities to be a gatekeeper. We'll reward you with a home game. You telling me if I battle 16 PGs, I can't ask for a home game? Jersey deserves some home court games. You know what? Interesting statistic. Arsenal the Rebel has the least amount of home games out of any battle rapper. But of course, he loves to travel, so that's in his slogan. But that's just letting you know that these Jersey guys don't really battle in Jersey that much. New York is a second home, so it's not so much of a road game to them. But the point is, I want to see B-Dot on the road again. This last time on the road on URL was against JC. Let's be honest, that wasn't his best performance. JC kind of put B-Dot away for a year. We didn't see B-Dot for a whole year after that performance. And if B-Dot is this confident that he was going to 30 Shotgun Suge, the next question is, can you beat him in Jersey? He's going to say, yeah, right? Let's make it happen. If B-Dot wins, it'll be a body bag. What if he gets a home game and chokes? Well, BX Legend, I don't even know how to answer that. I hope it doesn't happen, although statistically, that's very possible. Notice Ars doesn't battle in LA off URL. Interesting. NY counts as a home game for Jersey. Seb, I'm not all the way mad at that. We're literally neck and neck, Jersey, New York, just a bridge away from each other. Tata says, I like it. BX Legend laughs. Hey, listen, man, I would really like to see this battle get completed. And more importantly, B-Dot said over the weekend, I want to battle New Jersey Twerk. And Twerk's response was, he needs to get this done first. All right? So Twerk is kind of telling him, look, you need to battle Big Homie. What other better way to build up the Twerk battle than the beating Shotgun Suge in New Jersey? If you beat Suge in Jersey, that's it. I'm sold. I will pay for the match, even if it's free. I will pay for the match. Twerk versus B-Dot would be crazy, says our chat admin. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Building up Twerk means more dollar bills spent. B-Dot doesn't seem to run from smoke. We should spread this narrative. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think B-Dot ducks any smoke. And honestly, I'm not saying that B-Dot is afraid of battling on the road. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying he hasn't battled on the road since 2018. And that last time we've seen him on the road on URL, it wasn't his best showing. And he's been battling in California all of last year, except that one time went to Jersey. So I'm ready to see him on the road on URL again. That's all I'm saying. That's fair to say, right? Geechee Gotti was a road warrior. Like, Geechee wasn't battling at home until COVID really hit. So I really would love to see B-Dot hit the road. Let's push this narrative. I already sent this into to URL staff. They love the idea. Let's see if we can get it done. And if it gets done, remember where you heard it here first. But I do have one issue with B-Dot. Got to bring this up. I do have one very, 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 very big issue with B-Dot. Recent reports on URL TV News, Anwar interviewed B-Dot, the God, and he felt the need to ask him a very specific question. He said, how do you think Hitman Holla would fare out in this COVID setting? Let's listen here to this clip of B-Dot answering Anwar's question.
But at least 80 to 90%, you know what I'm saying, his bars is performance based, and his conviction and his, you know, just his whole aura is a big stage superstar type of aura, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say nothing to take nothing away from him, but this is a different environment, bro. This is really for like the pen, the writers, you feel me? So I don't know. We would have to see what he do, but off the top of my head, I probably think like this ain't his environment, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I want to ask all you guys first. Do you guys think Hitman Holla could adapt in the bubble or / COVID setting? Because I have a very, very, very big issue with what was said there. Leave Hitman alone, says 4-time. Hitman whooped on Orad and Arsenal. Hitman would bark in a COVID setting. It gets worse. Hitman body females in the hallway. No, small rooms are a thing. No crowds is different. Hitman battled Suge in front of 50 people. G4, there was more than 50 people there. Don't do that. Bossman says, can he still use show out? Hitman says, Hitman don't have to come back to this. It's his opinion. Plus, it might get him the battle. Look, he's entitled to his opinion, but I'm just kind of confused by it because, all right, let's break this down a little bit, right? Hitman Holla, I'm not even going to go down to accolades, none of that, because all of it's kind of irrelevant to the COVID setting. But this is really important to point out. The top 15 highest viewed URL battles, Hitman Holla has 6 battles in the top 15. 2 of them in 2012, 2 in 1 in 2010, 1 in 2013, 1 in 2014, and 1 in 2017. You know what that means? That means even in 2017, he didn't peak. He still kept elevating. Against K Shine, who he was an underdog against, by the way, he had a magnificent performance. He had a magnificent angle against K Shine. He was chain punching, rebuttaling. Against Tay-Rock did the exact same thing. Against Bill Collector did the exact same thing, and that's even a smaller environment. So guess what? There's a solid sample size that Hitman Holla improved his skill set over time. In fact, he actually might be a better battle rapper now than he was back then. And sure, I get it. Maybe he's not rapidy rap, but angles are so lucrative in the COVID setting. Angles are so powerful in this era. Is there a more elite angler than Hitman Holla? Like, did we see what he did to Arsenal? What he did to John? What he did to Verb? What he did to Surf? Even though Surf probably won that battle, he still did his numbers against Surf. What he did to K Shine? Bill Collector? Like, Hitman Holla's strength is angling. So somebody who has great conviction, great delivery, is now punching, has gotten more lyrical, is an elite level angler. How can they not adapt? I don't understand this. I love Lou Castro. I think he's the most improved battle rapper 2020. Lou Castro doing well in the bubble, but Hitman Holla can't? I don't get that. And I get it, right? B-Dot believes that the bubble belongs to the pen guys. But there's a solid sample size of pen guys losing in the bubble too. Lou Castro beat Kid Chaos in the first round. And Kid Chaos is probably better than Lou Castro right now today. JC lost to Loso, and Loso's closer to a performer than he is a lyricist. All right? There's a lot of people that just because they have a pen doesn't mean they're going to win in this environment. Don't do that, CJC. We're not doing that. Don't do that. Hitman Holla started in the small rooms. Well, the thing about starting in the small rooms, he was in small rooms because there was no big stages. So that's I can't necessarily use that to his argument, but my argument is all of the skill sets that we've seen that have been successful in the bubble, Hitman Holla possesses. Hitman Holla is an all-time great. Why will we think he doesn't have a chance? And you know what? Verb has been in the bubble 3 times, and he's been declining since each performance. But at the very least, his bubble debut against Geechee was a good battle. Goods' Bubble's debut against Geechee was a good battle. So we're gonna sit here and say Verb and Goods can do great in the bubble, but Hitman Holla can't? I just don't get the logic. Look, you know, Bill Collector, honestly, Bill Collector's first battle in the bubble wasn't good. Bill Collector versus Glueezy was not a good battle. It's not a good battle. It took him a couple battles to get better. I don't consider Verb a pen guy that he wants to be. That's fair. That's your opinion. That's fair. Music by Wayne. Bill Collector arguably killed Hitman in their battle. No, he didn't. You can say Bill won, but you cannot say that Hitman did not do his numbers. Vice versa. If you have Hitman winning, you can't say that Bill got killed. They both put on a spectacular battle of a grudge match from 8 years later that met its expectations, and they both were counter-writing and chain punching, and it was a masterpiece. That battle was a classic. I'm not gonna sit here and allow you to say that anybody got killed in that battle. Is Bill versus T-Top considered a bubble? Probably not, because that was prior to COVID, and there was a whole audience for that. But, I mean, I'm talking no audience, just you and your opponent, and probably Smack. JC wasn't bad. He just lost. Look, all I'm saying is just because you have a pen doesn't necessarily guarantee you a win, all right? Matter of fact, Rum Nitty. We love Rum Nitty here, right? We all love Rum Nitty, greatest puncher of all time, right? His first COVID battle was against B-Dot. How'd that turn out? You know, there is a solid sample size of people that you would think do better in a small room that have lost so far in the COVID era. So all I'm saying is you can't look at Hitman and say, I don't know if he could do it in this era. All right, you guys keep doing that. And Hitman's like Jordan, bro. Hold on, let me see if I get the Jordan crying face up here, man. Where's that shit at? Do I have it here? Do I have it handy? Nah, I don't think I have it. You guys lucked out today. Hitman's like Jordan, all right? If this guy, you give him any reason to get motivated, and he will get motivated, all right? So everybody in the chat that does not believe in Hitman coming back, which I've seen everybody been pro Hitman in the bubble. That's good. Hitman will do his numbers in this setting. Hitman likes to prove you wrong heavy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, he does. A pen doesn't guarantee you a win in the COVID era. You need the complete package. I agree. In that case, what do you think about Hitman and Mook? I love Hitman and Mook. That's elite level battle rap. I love that battle. Hitman would lose to Mook Lux and many others. Guys, Loaded Lux is probably the best lyricist in this culture. And his bubble debut was not that great. Let's be honest. That's why people are so mad at Sue Surf, because they have not seen a Loaded Lux look so vulnerable and ended up winning a battle. You put anybody else in front of Lux that night, Lux's legacy might be a little altered now. If you put DNA in front of that Lux, you put Av in front of that Lux, you put Geechee in front of that Lux, you put Danny Myers in front of the Lux to battle Surf. Lord have mercy. Where's Tata, man? Lord have mercy if Danny Myers was to battle that Loaded Lux that night. Dominique says, France, to be fair, when your opponent is bad, what do you expect? Yeah, that's a fair point. When your opponent's kind of like not doing good, you kind of play to their level, you know? But, I mean, his energy wasn't there to begin with, so I don't know, man. Like, he was very vulnerable that night. That's all I'm saying. Very, very, very vulnerable. You know, I don't think we'll see Loaded Lux that vulnerable ever again. I think he's going to improve moving forward. But all I'm saying is that one time, boy, a lot of people have surpassed that. Kid Chaos has had better performances in the bubble. Chilla Jones had better performances in the bubble. The list goes on. A lot of people have outperformed Loaded Lux so far in the bubble. Granted, the sample size is just one battle, so you can kill me for that. But the statement is not inaccurate. Which brings me to my next point. I want to talk a little bit about Loaded Lux. Loaded Lux, Is he coming outside? He got called out 3 times on Volume 7 by 3 people that are excelling right now. In fact, if you were to power rank battle rappers today, Chilla Jones, Danny Myers, and DNA are in your top 3. You pick the order. But they're in your top 3. No lower than top 5. You know what I'm saying? I actually want to ask all you guys, DNA, Danny Myers, Chilla Jones, they all call out Loaded Lux. You have to pick one of those guys to battle Lux. Who you picking? Dominique says Chilla. Admin says DNA. Bagel says Danny. Junior says DNA. CP03 says Gary. Ghost says Chilla. Tata says Danny. Coquesso says Chilla clear. Susurf Lawyer says kill me. But none of those excite me at this point. That's fair. That's fair, Susurf Lawyer. But I didn't ask if it excited you. I asked who would you pick out of the 3. Dale Simmons says Danny. M4 says Danny. Music by Wayne says Danny. It's a lot of Dannys. Danny has a very solid chance of getting Loaded Lux. Like, it's very possible. Danny, DNA better backstory. 4 times says DNA. Admin says Chilla or Danny. Bagel says Danny or Day. Susurf Lawyer says DNA. Look, there's a nice little fluctuation in names. A little bit of a history lesson for those that may know this or those that may not know this. Fun fact, Summer Madness 2, when Loaded Lux was going to make his debut, before picking Calico, DNA was one of the names offered to battle Loaded Lux. It was DNA, Conceited, Hollow, but Hollow was in jail at the time. Hollow was locked up, so he couldn't do the battle. But then eventually ended up being Calico. So just think to yourself that DNA probably could have stood in Loaded Lux. It could have stood in front of that casket, that suit, the performance 9 years ago. DNA would have died. Yeah, I'm pretty sure anybody would have that night. Have you really seen anybody try barking on Lux? That's a good point. I don't think it's really happened. Maybe like Hollow when he's screaming at his face, but Hollow's voice is so raspy. Like, is that really barking? DNA would have died, but Gary, it's a different story. Oh my goodness. Arsenal did. That's a good point. Arsenal did. I'm kind of upset that didn't come to my mind right away. That battle was very forgettable. In fact, that battle didn't even sell out the venue. Like once Loaded Lux no longer sold out a venue, I knew something was up. Who is Gary? Says 4-time. Class, would you like to enlighten 4-time who Gary is? Dominica says Arsenal Lux are friends though. Yeah, it was a friendly battle. Definitely not one of my favorite Lux battles. Dominica says, can you explain Gary? Class, please, everybody the people who don't know who Gary is, please tell the people who Gary is, all right? Look, this is Gary, all right? This is Gary. All right, there goes your Gary. Perfect. The chat's blocked. Can't see none of the messages. All you can see is Gary. No, but I mean, I do want to see Loaded Lux come outside. Honestly, if I had to pick one of the 3, DNA is most deserving, but stylistically, Chilla Jones and Lux will probably be the best trade-off. But one thing about Chilla, like, I love his high IQ, how smart he is, how well-rounded he is as a battle rapper. But the passive aggressiveness, I don't feel like it'll motivate Lux. Like, Lux kind of needs that competitor that's going to be like, yo, come outside. And DNA is that guy that's going to, like, push your buttons. It's going to call you out. It's going to tell you to come outside. It's going to question your legacy. It's going to downplay everything you've done. It's going to criticize you, all right? DNA is the guy that will push Lux to that next level, but I really want to see Chilla get that dance too, so I'm kind of stuck there. I'm not mad at Danny and Lux. I'm not mad at it, believe it or not. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. DNA could get Lux, especially if he promos. Danny versus Tay Rock. Chilla can talk shit when it's time to. Chilla consistently sells himself short by being nice all the time. Susa Floyer, that's a very, very, very good point. In fact, they were killing Chilla Jones for calling out Kid Chaos, which is kind of a little ridiculous, because let's just be honest, Chilla Jones knows where the smoke is at, all right? Where there is fire, there's smoke. Or where there's smoke, there's fire, however the phrase goes. And he knows where the warriors and the competition is, all right? Let's be honest. How much longer do we need to keep convincing ourselves we need big name matches? We just had Tay-Rock and Averb headline Volume 7. Two of the most accomplished guys on URL, period. Right? They probably had the fourth worst main event in URL history. Next to Mook and Iron, next to Hitman and Hollow, next to Lux and Surf, and then Tay-Rock and Verb. Like that's where that goes, all right? That battle is in that conversation. In fact, Verb had 2 rounds where he spent 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Verb tapped into his inner Big K. Like it was remarkable. So, I said it on Saturday, and I'm not double backing. Kid Chaos is currently better than Aver right now. So, like, if Chilla and Aver battle and Chilla and Kid Chaos battle, who we know which battle sells more tickets, even though there's no tickets to sell. We know which battle headlines the card, but what's the better piece of content? Right now, do we care about the politics, or do we want good battles? I want good battles. I'm okay with all the politics being put aside, right? Because they don't have to worry about selling out a venue, getting this place, packing out a brand new market, another city they're traveling to. We don't got to worry about none of that. This is the opportunity to create the best style matchups. That's why T-Top and Easy battled. I love Easy the Block Captain. Love Easy the Block Captain. Can we be honest? Did Easy really deserve the T-Top shot yet? All he did was just battle in his tournament, beat a vet, beat Danny, but T-Top's the top tier. Like we probably said, oh snap, he's getting T-Top. That's a great look. We were so happy for him because T-Top sped his process up. But as far as what he was doing, he probably could have got another couple battles before getting T-Top. But T-Top said, this is a good style matchup. Let's get it out the way. Let's get it popping. T-Top avoided politics. Because if T-Top said Easy needs 1 or 2 more battles, we wouldn't contest that. Nobody would contest that. But instead, he said, fuck the politics. I just want a good battle. So I'm saying here, fuck the politics. I just want a good battle. Kid Chaos and Chilla Jones, sign me up. Inject that in my veins. That's a good battle. All right, let's read some of these messages. 4 times says he deserved Easy. Easy has been battling for years. And he smoked the bear. Easy set himself apart, so he skipped the line because of that. I agree, Music Wayne, but you said it. Skip the line. Meaning if you had to wait in line, he still could have been waiting in line. He skipped the line. T-Top avoided politics versus Geechee. T-Top wants A-Ward. He's in the business of competing. Hello. Thank you, chat admin. Somebody will probably make A-Ward would try to make A-Ward go through hurdles. But instead, they might give A-Ward a top tier for his URL debut. That's incredible. Never know when you're called to action. They got set up after Twerk's return, injecting your veins. Listen, man, we need it, all right? We need it, CJ. Let's keep reading messages. Outspoken 86 says he took Easy to get swamped second. That's funny. Eventually, you're gonna stop injecting stuff, says Dale Simmons. Never will I ever stop. Kid Chaos brings Battle of the Night every performance. A-Ward needs Twerk. I agree with that. Let's be real. If we're talking rap, A-Ward is dangerous. Yes, he is. When is URL going to stop fucking around and get A-Ward? It's a good question. A very good question. Casey Smoke Swamp. A-Ward versus Danger Zone. The list goes on and on and on. Matter of fact, I'll give you guys a great example. I love Real Sick, right? I love Real Sick. Y'all know he's my favorite rookie. On paper, after Ultimate Madness, he didn't do anything in the league per se to get Chilla Jones. But Chilla Jones damn near risked his Champion of the Year campaign, came down, and had a classic with a rookie. Chilla Jones could have easily said, I'm good. I want the big dogs. And he deserves the big dogs, no? He deserves the Tay-Rocks. He deserves the A-Verbs. He deserves these names. But nah. He did not care for the politics. He is a warrior. He's here for competitive battles and good content. So you gotta respect that. And it's things like that why people like Chilla Jones might get the head nod to be champion of the year over somebody like K Shine. K Shine said, "Give me E Hart," and that was a one-sided battle. Give me Pat Stay, one of the most disappointing battles of 2020. I guarantee you, K Shine battles Fonz. By the way, Fonz called out K Shine after won the tournament, never got it. I bet you if K Shine and Fonz battle, that battle would be better than almost every battle he had that year. It'd be better than him and Clips. It'd be better than him and Pat Stay. It'd be better than him and E Hart. K Shine and Fonz will be better than all three of those battles, but on paper, it's not bigger than any of those battles. So at some point, they need to kind of put politics aside and just realize styles make fights right here. A-Ward needs a top name. Real Sick versus Mike P needs to happen. I agree. We never seen the Carolinas beef. Swamp and T-Top needs to make it happen. Facts, France, make the matches, no politics. Listen, if there was ever a time to cut the politics and just get to the match, it's now. It's now in the COVID era. Verb and Rock will go down as one of the most disappointing battles of 2021. No, Bagels, it'll go down as one of the most disappointing battles of the century. Not just the year, the century. All right, guys, let's close out with this last topic because we got URL. They're gonna have their recap show at 8:00. DNA. I'm projecting here. DNA might have one of the greatest years of his career, and I know that sounds crazy because this guy's 150 battles deep. I can't even start to list all the accolades he has. At some point, I don't even know where his peak hits because against Mickey Fax, he hit a new level. Now he's no gun bar DNA, and everybody loves this version of him. But just think for a second. This guy battled Geechee Gotti and Av in 2 weeks and had 2 weeks to prepare for both of them because the battles got locked in short notice. And he arguably beat them both. In my opinion, he beat Av clearer than Geechee. But Geechee and Av in 2 weeks? Bro, that's spooky. That's extremely spooky, bro. This is also a guy that has no problem coming down to battle lower tier. So, he will definitely take anybody in the rear view right now. He wants a Mook in the Lux. So imagine if DNA comes down, battles somebody at a lower tier right now, and then battles a Lux and a Mook at another top tier name. Bruh, we might be looking at the best DNA year of his career ever. It's very possible. Respectfully, DNA don't do that. Don't do that. Vixen whooped his ass, woke him up. Yeah, she did. Spooky as fuck. Who can he battle to make that case? I agree. He might be the real champ for real. We didn't know Av's name before Fonz. G4 says he didn't beat Geechee though, but salute to DNA. Hey, listen, I'm not mad at you having Geechee, but battling Geechee and Av in 2 weeks and not clearly losing to either of those two fellas, man, hats off to DNA. That's a tough assignment for anybody. Chilla Jones whooping Shine might wake him up. I don't like that DNA keeps saying rewatch his battle with Vixen like she didn't win. That's fair, Tata. But he wears the L. He knows what's up. Fun fact, guys. Remember when I said earlier that K Shine kind of knew he might have lost to Chilla Jones, so he avoided the media and did an interview with Vixen on his. He did an interview with Chilla Jones on his channel. DNA did the exact same thing with Vixen. DNA said, "Vixen, let's do this interview. Let's put it on my channel." It's almost like the perfect damage control strategy. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. K Shine and DNA know what they're doing. Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. I want to close the show like this, guys. I'll ask one last question before we head on over to the URL channel for their recap show. I was having a real interesting debate amongst the LTBR team, and this is a real interesting question. I was kind of stuck. What do you think holds more value as far as an accomplishment? DNA arguably beating Geechee and Av in 2 weeks, or Chilla Jones 30 and K Shine? They said Chilla. They said Chilla 30 and Shine. DNA, Chilla 30 and K Shine, Chilla DNA. Okay, I'm seeing some DNAs. Chilla. DNA. There's no right or wrong answer. I think they're both phenomenal features. and they're both very difficult assignments. So like I'm not gonna downplay one or the other if I pick one. But I just think it's so crazy that both these guys did that. Like battling Geechee and Av back to back, I don't think it's even ever been done. And beating K Shine of that magnitude probably hasn't been done in a very long time. So those are two very interesting accomplishments. If we're power ranking 2021, those guys are in your top 3 right now, or in your top 5 at the very least. 4 years almost. Big fact, Mike. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today, man. LTBR at night. It was a pleasure chopping up with all you guys, man. It was a fun broadcast. I got to get my rants off. We got to talk to you guys about some of the biggest takeaways and reports over the weekend. Let's head over to the URL channel. Henny Man will be hosting tonight's show, recapping Volume 7 with all the battlers. You know how that goes. So I'll see all you guys tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. LTBR Daily Eastern Standard Time with CC. We'll be back hitting tomorrow morning. All right, y'all. Pleasure rocking with you guys. LTBR belongs to the people. Without you guys, we wouldn't be who we are. Salute to everybody.